What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Dissect That Film, where we dissect your favorite films, film franchises, and TV. Today, on episode 39 of the Dissect That Film podcast, we are jumping into another franchise. And what better franchise to jump into than what started Marvel's movie success? No, wasn't Iron Man. No, it wasn't Spider-Man. It was the 1998 cult classic Blade.
Yeah.
Starring Wesley Snipes. Oh no, go. Come on.
I was gonna ask, when was X-Men? I can't remember.
2000.
Okay, so this was the first.
Yes.
It's like my thoughts always X-Men.
Yeah. I am your host, Brett Parker, and joining me as always is the wonderful DNA Gaming, consisting of Dan and Angela.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing today?
Good.
We ready to talk some Blade?
She's got a hat on. We all got red.
Oh, I don't have a Blade shirt, so I figured I'd just find another guy who uses katanas.
Fair point.
I'm just wearing Krampus.
I just got a black shirt on. So it's...
There's no set uniform until the Dissect That Film merch comes in, baby. Yes, we got merch now.
Yeah, a whole episode, no pants.
Yes, just the sweatshirts or shirts that we had ordered.
And just constantly sweating. Too,
oh, so what are we talking about again? Oh, yes, Blade.
yes, exactly. That thing.
Oh, my goodness.
We'll definitely have pants on.
Yeah. This movie was released August 21st, 1998, directed by Stephen Norrington, who literally really didn't do much in his career other than this movie. I think this was his highest grossing film. He did League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That was his last film before he just kind of floated into obscurity, because we all know for people who has seen that movie or followed that movie, a lot of troubles. That was literally the movie that caused Sean Connery to retire from acting.
Yeah.
Just
so I've heard.
To be honest though, I'm going to be that outlier. I enjoyed League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I didn't think it was that bad. And when people kept talking about how much it's like hated and how bad it is, I'm like, okay, it's not great, but it's not that bad.
I agree. I used to watch it with my grandma. Like I never, like a lot of people shit on it. It sucks that that's the movie that ended his career.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it was that bad, right?
No.
I didn't think it was
absolutely
bad.
not. But yeah, that's literally his two biggest movies were Blade and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. This would spawn two sequels: Blade 2, directed by Guillermo del Toro, which we'll talk about next week, and Blade Trinity, which was directed by the writer of all three of these movies, David S. Goyer, who was produced and written for a lot of superhero movies from the mid-90s to today. He wrote all of the Nolan Batman movies, Batman versus Superman. So, but he directed the third one of the Blade trilogy. And yeah, when we get to that movie, that's a troublesome behind the scenes for that, let's just say.
Seems to be a common thing when a non-director member of the staff gets put in directing duties for a film later in the franchise's history.
Right. Also, I've heard that Wesley Snipes is not the easiest person to work with, so that could have been a thing. Who knows? This stars Wesley Snipes, of course, as the lead character. Stephen Dorff, who plays our villain, Deacon Frost. What a name! One of the coolest names for a villain, Deacon Frost,
who is savagely different than his comic book counterpart.
So is Blade, to be honest.
Yes.
Chris Christopherson, who plays Whistler. He is
great character.
Such a great character.
He's so good.
And Bush Wright, who plays Karen, and Donald Logg, who plays Quinn. And he did a lot of TV. He was in the Gotham television series from a few years ago. He's been in a bunch of stuff. I enjoy the hell out of him, and I enjoyed the hell out of him in this movie. He's just so over the top, but it was so much fun to watch him.
He's just one of those guys that you see him in everything, but you never know who he is.
Right.
Like, oh, I remember him from blah blah blah.
Yeah. This was Blade, of course, is based off of a Marvel comic from the 70s. It was introduced in 1973 by writers Marv Wolfman and artist Gene Colan.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it was a comic book. I didn't know it was that old.
Yep.
But yeah.
He was just a side character. Tomb of Dracula #10.
Mm-hmm. So before I go around and ask what everybody thought of this movie, I just want to talk about Blade a little bit, the original Blade. So originally in the comics, Blade was not a Daywalker like he is in this film, but a human who couldn't be turned. He was bitten by Morbius in the comics. So Morbius is one of Spider-Man's villains, right?
Yep.
Blade was bitten by Morbius, which is then how he got his powers. Like similar to what he has in this film. And
yeah,
films
because Morbius in the comics is not a natural vampire, he's
right.
a scientifically engineered one. So slightly, I guess it overrid his like immunity kind of thing, I suppose. I don't know.
Right. And we're getting a Morbius movie at some point this year. They keep pushing it back. You know, Jared Leto.
Like the 10th time.
I know. Will we get some sort of Blade tie-in? We are getting a new Blade. Mahershala Ali is set to play Blade in a upcoming film, which has not been announced or talked about much since its initial announcement a couple years ago. But
he does have one credit as the character.
Mahershala Ali does?
Allegedly. I don't know.
Oh.
He did a voiceover. He appeared as his voice in a movie.
Oh. Okay. I don't know what you're talking about. It's fine. You don't have to talk about it.
Okay, well, I don't want to if you don't want me to. Okay.
Is this something I've seen?
No.
Okay, then we'll hold off. I'll talk to you after that.
Fuck the audience. As long as Parker ain't seen it.
Yeah, I don't want to be spoiled. Oh, boy. All right. Well, before I go into trivia and all that stuff, let's go around the room and go over what we thought of the film. Angela, take it out.
I really liked it. I don't know if I'd ever seen Blade.
I'm so sorry. Did you not see it growing up?
I don't think I ever saw it growing up. So, because I don't remember any of it other than seeing the first time you see Blade.
You mean at the beginning?
In the beginning, yeah. When you first see him, because I think I've just seen like memes and stuff.
Yeah.
With him.
Yeah.
So none of it looked familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But I liked it a lot. There was some questionable CG.
Oh yeah. Well, I gotta give this movie a pass. This is 1998. This is a low budget film, lower budget, especially when you're talking about Marvel in the beginning. Because at this point in Marvel's life, this was like not a good time for Marvel. No, it wasn't a good time for Marbles either. People weren't playing with them anymore. No, this wasn't a great time for Marvel. I just smoked my elbow off my desk. That really hurt.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, this wasn't a great time for Marvel. They were like on the verge of bankruptcy in the 90s, so it was kind of just like they were selling off a lot of their rights. That's why Spider-Man ended up with Sony and X-Men ended up with Fox, which is now back with Disney, which Marvel is a part of. But yeah, this was New Line Cinema purchasing the rights to Blade. Dan, what did you think of Blade?
I like it. Actually, I enjoy the film. I enjoy the film quite a bit. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Probably not since the early 2000s. The last time I watched this movie. Even though I've owned that same Blu-ray 3-pack you have, you got on Black Friday at Walmart.
Yes, I did. I sure
sticker
fucking did, sir.
Because I was in there. I don't remember what year I bought it. I was like, oh, Blade Trilogy. I need that. But anyway, it's a fun movie. It is an enjoyable movie. It doesn't feel like it's 2 hours long. Like you figured it'd be a shorter movie by its runtime.
Sorry.
Okay.
I was looking.
No, it's fine.
I know what you're talking about.
You do know what I'm talking about, don't you? Okay. So I thought pacing was great. I love Wesley Snipes. I cannot think of his character. One of my favorite roles of Wesley Snipes is
you're talking Demolition Man. You're talking about U.S. Marshals, right? The sequel to The Fugitive.
Oh no, absolutely not. I'm talking about Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. I can't remember his name. It's something Phoenix, and I love that movie.
Flight of the Phoenix. Yeah.
No, guy doesn't know how to use the 3 seashells. But anyway,
wait, what? I thought we're talking.
No, Simon Phoenix. We're talking about Simon Phoenix. Yes, from Demolition Man.
Oh, yeah.
I love Demolition,
right? Yeah.
Yes, it was Phoenix something. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. But I just had to make But anyway, Rob Schneider reference. But anyhow,
no. What? Wait, he was in Demolition Man?
Yeah, he's you don't know.
No, I thought he was in Judge Dredd.
He is also in Judge Dredd.
Why? Rob Schneider,
I
where
don't
were you in
know.
the 90s? What were you doing? Oh, wait, you were doing this shit.
Absolutely. But by today's standards, I will say, by today's standards, the CGI is everywhere from subpar to horrible. But it's not truly terrible. I enjoy the movie. The acting's fine. I like Chris Christopherson in it. The Karen lady I could give two flipping shits about.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
She is so throwaway. I don't care.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. Good movie. Thumbs up.
I mean, I guess she does create that serum that ends up, ending the movie to begin with. So I guess she's not totally useless.
Yeah, I know. But she doesn't stand out for me.
Right. This was a staple for my youth. I watched Blade all the time. I think I would rent Blade almost every weekend that I would go to my dad's house as a kid. It's such a fun movie. And God, Steven Dorff is just such a fucking good villain. Like he's just so good. And Donald, I think I was more a fan of Deacon Frost and Quinn than I was Blade in this movie because they were just so good. Like you had, Quinn who was just that eccentric, like over the top, like crony. And then you had Deacon who was very just stoic and, he was trying to put this vision out there and overthrow, the purebloods as they mentioned in this movie, which to be honest, is the first time I ever watched this movie and realized, oh shit, I completely must have just erased it from my mind all the time that Deacon Frost wasn't a pure blood vampire. He was just like Blade in a way. He was
this felt like a metaphor, good, because this was like what Generation X kind of stuff going on at this time.
Yeah. So like it just felt like this like new generation overthrowing the old generation. I totally missed all of that. Every other time I've watched this movie, never caught on to any of that. But yeah, this the like Angela was saying before, the CG, it's very questionable, but it's 1998. The CG is it's still in its infancy, and it's a low budget film. CG is not cheap, so when you use CG in a movie of this age, it's not going to look great, especially when you're comparing it to like Jurassic Park, which had the budget to make the CG look good.
Well, I mean, especially there was some good practical though. I mean, there was some good.
Yeah, the practical looked good, but some of those scenes that were like, that's rough. Like the split, like the scene where Deacon gets split in half and then he gets like reconformed. And you're like, ooh, that doesn't even look like blood, man. Like,
exactly. And I could tolerate like the vampires like getting like murked, like where they turn into powder and skeleton. Like I was like, okay, I can live with that. But some of them just like.
We all know though. True fans of Blade, their favorite part of this movie is anytime you see Pearl, which is just one scene. Pearl, oh my God, that scene is just so awesome. Just giant, like just ginormous 1,500-pound mass that just sits there, and he is the like overseer of the archives.
Mm-hmm.
And it was watching, for one, I watched the behind the scenes of this, and it was, of course, filmed back in the 90s when this movie was made. And it is one of the worst behind the scenes I've ever watched in my life. It is boring as all hell. No one has any energy. They're all just like, we just did this and we did that. Like no fucking tone. I was like, I can't watch this anymore. But the part they talked about Pearl is the whole backstory of like what he is. He literally. He's the overseer of the archives. Like he is not supposed to go anywhere. And that's why he gets so big. And they like literally vampires would steal children and babies and bring it to him. And that was how he would feed.
Yep.
Such a weird backstory that you don't hear in the movie. It's just something you'd have to look up.
Children are easier targets for him because he can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
But his screams live in my brain when he's getting fried.
Right. It's just his voice in general.
Yeah.
Like what happened?
Absolutely horrifying. So the reason, when David S. Goyer wrote the script for this, there was a bunch of names thrown out there for who would play Blade. LL Cool J was one of them. which I'm glad we didn't get that. We got him in Deep Blue Sea. Okay, when that's good enough.
Yeah, that was the
That's
same
good
thought.
enough.
The last time I remember the movie, enjoying a movie with LL Cool J was Deep Blue Sea. So
He started rapping in the middle of it.
We had Ice Cube and Anaconda, and we had LL Cool J and Deep Blue Sea. All right.
Fair enough.
But so Wesley Snipes was actually supposed to be Black Panther back in the 90s. They were actually trying to make a Black Panther movie, but they just couldn't. It was going through development hell. They couldn't find a script. And it just got to the point they're like, we're not doing it anymore. So Wesley Snipes was like, okay, well, I'll take this because it's based on a comic. It's a badass character, in my opinion. I love Blade. And to be honest, Wesley Snipes is perfect for this role. He just fits this role perfectly. So thank God it wasn't LL Cool J. The effects team was Canum Creations, which were the effects team behind The Mask, which I know Dan loves that movie a lot. It's one of his favorites.
We'll have to watch it just for him.
Yes, and Son of the Mask, everybody else's favorite.
If we do that, we have to watch both of them. If you're gonna make me watch that, I'm gonna make you guys watch Son of the Mask.
100%, I will watch Son of the Mask. Just for the. It's all about the content, Dan.
I'll do it. I just won't like it.
It's okay.
Fuck.
There's been movies we've talked about in this show I didn't like. So yeah. Are we ready to break down this plot? Oh wait, we didn't even talk about like box office and all that. $45 million budget and made $131.2 million worldwide. It was considered a success. Of course, it spawned 2 sequels, so of course it was good enough to warrant that. And it got positive reception from critics and audiences. So, and I have to agree, it's a really fun movie. If you look past like the bad CG, and I thought the story was pretty. I liked the whole plot line. I thought it was pretty cool. You know, Deacon Frost is a good villain.
Yep.
The whole backstory with Blade and how he becomes what he is, and how Deacon Frost isn't a full pureblood vampire is a really cool addition to it. Where it's like this whole time you're like, why does he give a shit? He wasn't even born this way. But he was like, it doesn't fucking matter. You guys don't care. I just love his whole reasoning behind doing what he's doing.
Yep.
And then there was just that random girl that was like his sidekick too. The one who was wearing like the big, like, who are you? What's your name? I don't know what her name was. It was weird.
I think she's from the Matrix.
Is she?
No, fuck, I don't know.
We did get some bullet time in this, so
we did. It just looked like a character from the Matrix. That's all I was going.
Oh man. Yeah, this was 2 hours long, which, to be honest, when I watched it yesterday, it did not feel that way.
Mercury was her name.
Ooh. Well,
no, it didn't. Like, it just goes. Like, it's got a good pace. It goes. You get action. You get story. You get action. You get story. Like, I didn't feel like it drug really at all.
Other actors that were up or considered for the role of Blade was Denzel Washington and Lawrence Fishburne.
I just don't see Lawrence Fishburne doing that.
No.
I just don't see it.
And
do you see it?
No.
Perfect casting on Whistler. Chris Christopherson.
Oh, absolutely.
A+.
Absolutely.
Plus. All right. Let's break down this plot. Let's laugh a little. Let's watch some really bad CG and
cringe a little.
Yeah.
Cringe? Oh, what's
at the you know what I'm talking about.
The CG stuff?
No, his mom.
Oh yeah. Let's get to that, eh? All right.
All the better to get to the plot.
Right. Woo! All right. This movie opens in 1967, where a woman is being rushed into the hospital and she's bleeding. She's bleeding from her neck, but she's also bleeding, in other places because she's pregnant and she's in labor.
Oh, yeah.
And all we see is a lot of flashing, like the cuts. Some of the cuts in this movie are just kind of like, am I watching a Michael Bay movie? Like, what is happening right now? I'm just
feel like there's enough explosions.
Just late 90s cinematography. Like, what is happening right now? But a lot of like flashing back and forth, and then a baby's born, and then we, I guess, have to figure out the mom died because the thing goes off, right? It beeps, does the flat line. And then we jump to the future, and there's a man and a woman. They're going to a meatpacking plant at an undercover club.
Somebody's gonna be doing some meat packing. Yeah.
I was trying to pick out who the hell this guy is. I feel like I've seen this dude before.
Doesn't he look familiar?
He looks so familiar. Let me look at this cast list real quick. I don't want to dive too far into it. I can't even. I don't even think he had a name. So like, I don't even know who I'm looking for. All right, who gives a shit?
Done.
So yeah, so it's a woman, this man and woman, they're going to a meatpacking plant, which then turns into a nightclub. And so, you know, everybody's having a good time. Everybody's getting real close. The women are just stripping. They're down to like their bras and shit. We're like, what is going on? Until we notice that these sprinklers are above them and they just start spewing blood all over the place, everywhere. And we figure out this is a nightclub for vampires where they get to dance a little and drink some blood. And the woman brings the guy, I'm guessing as an addition to the blood supply.
Assuming because she just ditches him.
Yeah.
Like gets in there and then like, boop, they split. He's like, all right. And he's like,
Yeah,
just doing his
yeah,
thing.
bro.
I would just like to point out this whole scene. I get the techno vibe they're going for. I
Yeah.
get it, right? That's
Yeah.
fine. Totally would have been a perfect time to play Raining Blood by Slayer. Just saying, it would have worked.
Yeah.
But yes.
But no, anytime there's a nightclub scene in any movie in the 90s, it has to be this thumping,
Yeah.
whatever the hell it is. We're just like, yeah. So everybody's covered in blood. And this dude is like, I got to get the fuck out of here. So he's trying to get out and everybody's surrounding him. And I really like the close-up effects of the vampires as he's discovering what they are. Because they're all like, literally, you can't see any part of their skin other than their teeth and their eyes. I think it's a really cool shot.
Yeah,
like every time they would show a different vampire. And Blade shows up. And we get that. We don't get to see him at first. We just see his feet. And then it almost gets to his head. And then it cuts away again. And then it cuts to him. And we get the really good CG of every time he would kill a vampire with his silver, they would come literally like burn and just turn into ash. And yeah, the CG is not good. Just doesn't look good. It gets better. It gets better in the two sequels because CG gets a little bit better, especially when the budget gets a little bit better.
Yeah, I was gonna say I figured that a bigger budget since this one was successful. So.
And yeah, Blade just goes ham on all these guys and just tearing it apart.
Fucking bitches left and right.
We then run into Quinn, who is the second in command to our main antagonist, Deacon Frost. And Blade fucks with him some more. And he's just like, I'm tired of dismembering you.
Yeah, right.
And
at that point, hadn't he cut off one arm already at that point?
That
he had talked about?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he stakes him to the wall.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'm then going, he's a vampire. Wouldn't he just combust like every other fucking vampire that gets stabbed with these stakes? But Quinn gets stabbed a lot. And he gets in, like, even when Blade, like, you know, uses his sword and cuts one, they combust. But yet Quinn gets his arm chopped off and he just runs away like, ah. I was like, I feel like I need some explanation of why he survives all these attacks.
There is a scene later where he explains to the girl that it almost seems like it needs to be like a mortal hit because he gives her that one weapon later with, you know, they talk about more later, but he said in the head or in the heart, anywhere else is your ass. That's what he says to her. So some inconsistent killing logic where you need to shoot/stab them, but
because I feel, because there was literally a spot where he takes one of those silver stakes and stabs it into one of them and they just combust. Yeah, stabs Quinn he stabs Quinn with two of them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just
so
like,
I get the inconsistency.
I'm fine.
I'll walk it off.
That's fine. I'm just gonna run away. Blade then lights him on fire.
Yeah, let's try fire.
Yeah. Tells the guy who came to the club in the beginning, just like, you probably should go. This isn't a good place to be. We then go to the coroner's office where we meet Karen. And I don't remember what kind of doctor is she. What kind of like a hematologist, which is a doctor of blood.
Yes. Okay. Sir.
They study Quinn's body, which is literally a charred mess. And you find out that Karen and the other doctor, Curtis Webb, or we're just going to call him Curtis, used to date because he's talked to her about like trying to get back together. And he's like, nah. Or she's like, no, it's never going to happen. It's over. We did it.
Yeah.
It's literally something that does not matter. Like, we get this information. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right.
Quinn's body just springs back to life. He immediately attacks Curtis and hops off the table, then jumping on to Karen and biting her. And who were to show up right after this happens but our boy Blade. He's back again. And we get a nice scuffle between...
Back again.
Yep. We get a nice scuffle between Blade and Quinn for a little bit as he's throwing his little charred body around. A fun fact about this. So Donald Long, like a couple years before this movie was made, he had a jaw injury where he dislocated his jaw in an accident, or he fucked up his face. And during the scene, there was the part where Blade pins him up against the wall, and he does his little vampire growl where he opens his mouth really wide. Well, during that, he dislocated his jaw, and they had to rush him to the hospital. And of course, he is looking like a charred body, and they had to send him, and they said it cleared the entire hospital. Like they had to, because they were so concerned for this person, because they didn't know, holy shit, was he in a house fire? What the fuck? What's wrong with this man? I just thought that was a pretty fun story.
No, I had read that too, so I'm glad you said that. Apparently, prior to this, where they had lit him on fire, there was supposed to be a Stan Lee cameo there, allegedly, but it was cut.
Yeah, I read that too.
You're supposed to be one of the cops who shows up while he's like, fire and shit.
Yeah. So yeah, Blade. No, this is where Blade chops off his arm. In this scene, he chops it off. Yeah, Quinn jumps out a window, and then of course the cops show up, and Blade sees that Karen is suffering, and she's like, "Oh, I'll take you." He takes her. He goes up to a window. He looks out. He sees a tarp on another window, on the top of another building, and just yeets her just right out the window, and she lands perfectly on that tarp. I was like, "There's no way." Even if that tarp's there, she's hitting the top of that. Oh, she's dead. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's so good, dude.
Yeah.
She's like, "Whoop."
And then and then Blade, of course, does the same. He jumps from the window to that same rooftop. And Blade is they're hiding behind the door. They open up this door to go down into the building, and it just shows a close up of this one dude who's got like some sort of automatic weapon just going, and it's a really intense face as he shows. Like, why did they need to show this?
It's like an AR-15 of some kind. Like,
and it shows the door constantly just getting rattled with freaking bullets. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah, right. I don't think the police officer, like police officers, are not supposed to do that. You can't just fire willy nilly, because they're doing pistols first. Like,
well, the thing was, like Blade. Yeah, Blade never shoots at them. In this scene, he does later. Nope. He does shoot at the cops, but he does shoot at them when he's on the rooftop. He does shoot back.
Yeah.
But before that, they're shooting at him before he even jumps out the window.
I know, right?
I don't think that's how it works. Blade brings Karen back to his lair, and we meet Whistler. He's an old man who helps Blade with his crusade. And boy, is he awesome. He's got this really cool knee brace on. He's limping around. He's got this... Chris Christopherson is a very renowned country singer as well. He's not just an actor. He's big in country music, and he was in one of the many versions of A Star Is Born. He played the Bradley Cooper character it was in the 70s. I think it had Barbra Streisand.
Yeah.
Blade, he insists that Karen is like, what are you doing? Like, she got bit. Like, what are we doing here? Like, if she's too far gone, we got to get rid of her. He injects her with some garlic shit in her neck to just see
some garlic.
Yeah, to try to stop the turn.
Mm-hmm.
We meet, and then we cut to the High Council. We go into this really, generic room with this big, oval table with all these old men in suits talking about, how are we going to stop Blade? Because Blade's fucking everything up. But also they're just bringing to the attention that Deacon Frost is the man behind all these vampire nightclubs. And they're like, we're trying to hide in the shadows, and you're bringing all the attention to us. He's like, we've been here longer than everybody.
Right?
Why do we need to hide?
Well, I'm not curious, what is his relation to this group? I know they never really talk about it.
I have no idea. They never mention anything. Yeah, he's just part of it. He's just part of it. I don't know if he's related to that guy, the guy, the head of the table there. I can't remember his name. I just called him head of the table. Or
is it Dragonetti or is
Dragonetti?
Yeah, Dragonetti. Yeah, he might, and maybe he's in some sort of if he's related to him. They never mention it. He's just
maybe
here.
maybe Dragon Eddie turned him.
It could be
It
it.
could have been. I don't know. Been nice to have that context, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because
But-
he calls him something else. Or he calls somebody something. I don't know. I don't remember.
So Deacon runs all the clubs. He brings a lot of attention to the vampires. Frost was once a human, but he was turned. And so everybody's like, why do you give a shit? You're not even pureblood, so you shouldn't even have any say in anything we do here. And he's like, well, fuck you. You guys don't care about the the vampire kind anyways. You just want to hide in the shadows when we've been here for thousands of years. And we're being run by humans who are our food source. Just seems stupid. Blade visits a herb shop to get a treatment that helps him not become a full-blown vampire. I'm guessing that's what it is, right? Is it supposed to subside is it supposed to reduce his thirst for blood, or is it more of him preventing him from turning fully?
So I think it's to reduce the urge to feed.
Because Whistler says later he already found him feeding on homeless people, so I think he's already turned anyway.
Right.
So there's no going back. But I think you're right. I think it's the thirst.
Mm-hmm.
The thirst quencher.
Karen wakes up after all the stuff that happened to her in the lair. She discovers Blade's mom's license, a meditation station, and all of Blade's weapons. He's got a lot of weapons. Yep. Karen watches Whistler give Blade his blood treatment, which is just very intense.
Looks painful.
Wesley Snipes plays this out really good.
He does.
The scene is great. He's just strapped to the table and
his damn veins on his arms.
Fucking convulsing.
He got some veins.
Yeah. Wesley Snipes is a big man.
Yeah.
So Karen's watching in the distance, and Whistler and Blade stop her because she tries to run because they notice that she was watching the whole time. And I love watching Whistler try to he's trying to circle around to get in front of her.
Yeah, right.
And he's doing his epic limp, get you.
Exactly.
And Blade just hops over the fence without even grabbing it.
Yeah, just whoop.
Whistler explains to Karen about vampires, and she's like, "What? Vampires don't exist. You're crazy." It's like, they're everywhere, man. They're everywhere, man.
Like the lizard people and the aliens.
Oh, and she recommends, or they recommend that she gets a gun because you never know. If she starts turning, use that gun on yourself because you don't want to go through what these vampires go through. So I think his name is Gaetano. That's the head of the vampire, Gaetano Dratini. Is it Dragatini? Dratini.
Yeah.
Pokemon. Yeah.
That's good. I like that.
It's Dragon Eddie.
Dragon Eddie. What a badass name.
Right?
He is
the actor's name is pretty.
He is the head of the house of Erebus. Erebus.
And this guy's from Germany that plays Dragon Eddie, so he's got to have his name is Udo.
Udo Kier, probably.
So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I've seen him in other movies. I got to see what
Absolutely.
Oh, he was in a show I watched recently called Hunters with Al Pacino. Not that that's what I've seen him in before that. Oh, he was in Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Was he?
Yeah. He played Morgan Walker. But yeah,
no.
I've seen him in things. He's been around. So he confronts Frost about his bullshit and sees he's trying to translate an old vampire language that's almost impossible to translate. But yet, Deacon Frost has no issue.
Here we are. As long as he's got a computer and techno music, he's on it.
Yeah. He's sitting there all epic with his headphone, with his, earplugs in. And, the Dragon Eddie there, he's trying to talk to him and he's just all epic looking. And then he takes him out and just explains to him what he's trying to do. He's like, it's impossible. You're never going to be able to translate this text. It's old vampire text. No one's been able to translate it. Well, you're not Deacon Frost, are you?
Yeah, don't yell. It's the library, man.
Yeah, right? Damn. Blade drops off Karen in a what?
68 Dodge Charger.
Oh, God, such a sexy car.
Don't need to look it up. It's the taillights. That's the giveaway. It's the taillights.
What year do you know what year the General Lee was?
It's either a 69 or a 70.
I just love Chargers from the
nice, by the way.
From the late 60s. So Blade drops Karen off. She notices a few people going onto the elevator that have matching tattoos.
Yeah, like the back of their neck.
Yeah, which you're kind of like, okay, well, who are these people? Are they vampires? So they go in. she goes up to her apartment. She thinks that she's initially being followed by these people, but then she turns around and they're not there because Blade was it Blade or Whistler gave her the garlic spray. Whistler gave her it's like a vampire mace. It's literally garlic.
Isn't there something else in it too? It's garlic.
I thought it was silver.
In that garlic,
essence of garlic in like silver flakes or something.
Cornflakes. It's cornflakes. I'm sorry.
It's cornflakes. You're right.
Yeah. That's what they're weak against.
You know, when you're feeling hungry, just turn it on yourself, put it in your mouth. Some cornflakes with a hint of garlic. Yum. Yum.
That sounds like something that sounds like a product Kellogg's would test in the Asian market.
Oh God, that's terrible.
You ready to try it?
No.
Karen gets back to her apartment and then just a cop's there. Oh, we heard you were kidnapped and where were you? Blah blah blah. And she's like, I don't trust you, man. Can you like get the hell out? And then he turns on her and starts attacking until Blade shows up and legit just tosses this man around. Literally like 12 times, just breaking anything to the point where she's like, is all of this necessary? Which I just thought was great. Because in my head I was like, all right, dude, let's simmer down. I think we got the point. We find out that the cop is not a vampire, but he is property of Deacon Frost. He's got Deacon Frost's symbol. That's what the tattoos are. It symbolizes who you belong to in the vampire community.
And you don't fuck with someone else's property.
Nope.
You don't mow on another guy's lawn.
Nope. The cop escapes after Blade discovers that he has been getting blood for a blood bank. He's been literally the cop just goes around and collects blood for a blood bank that we really don't get too much into in this film, even though there were supposed to be scenes that showed the blood bank itself. Like there's supposed to be like bodies and body bags like hanging upside down that had the blood. You will see it in future installments of this series.
But it's cool they planted that seed.
Yeah.
It's like this lore that exists that you don't hear every bit of. It's like, hey, this is a thing. It's part of this universe. Next time. During
the making of I watched, David S. Goyer literally was talking about, he's like, we didn't make this movie in hopes a sequel would be made, but we implemented things just in case to kind of set things up. So
it's good idea.
Thought that was good. What the fuck is this shot of the cop and Blade driving? Like, it's just the worst fucking car chase I've ever seen in my life. It's like, it's that sped up, like, filming where it's like they're going way faster than they actually are. And it just cuts like close up to Blade. Then it cuts close up to the cop. Then it cuts up close to the.
I hate that.
And the cop is calling Deacon, or he's calling Pearl or something about about Blade. It's just a really bad shot. Blade and Karen visit another. Well, it is a nightclub, but it in reality is where the archives is stored. It's stored downstairs because they run into that cop again. He then tells Blade where the entrance to this archive is, which is in the freezer. At first he doesn't believe him and he just punches him a couple more times and he's like, no, it's seriously in the fucking freezer, open it up.
Yeah, because the club's like a front. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And that's when they discover this archive, which is it's all like these servers in rows and stuff. It's this big thing. But then they run into before we get to my favorite character, we then go to Deacon Frost's awesome penthouse. He's got a really epic penthouse that has like this solid door that goes over like that goes to the outside where like the pool and shit is.
Mm-hmm.
But then we see that woman. What's her name again? The woman henchman lady?
Yeah.
Mercury. We see her, and then we see Deacon. He's still trying to translate that text, and he's got the bed that's like fully enclosed, and it like lifts up. And then some woman gets out, and you're like, what is going on here? This is awesome. And he translates that really impossible text, according to the elder vampires there. Man.
Well, they didn't have computers, and I think they got complacent.
Yeah, they just got lazy.
They didn't
give a shit. They just stopped caring. What it's based on a blood god. Like who no, this isn't real, right?
Is this all a stab at political figures, how they're generally older people that only tend to care about their problems or not care about anybody else's problems, but they seem to be in charge of everybody else? Is this a stab at like politics, Congress?
Could be.
I don't know. Not trying to get into that. I'm just saying, just what seems like.
Yeah. The cop comes and tries to plead with Frost, but Frost decides, well, I'm just going to eat you instead. So him and a couple other people just eat him, just suck the blood out of him.
Yep.
And he keeps telling Quinn that he wants Blade alive, and Quinn's like, "What? Why? We've been trying to kill this guy for years. What the hell? What's the point?" But it's because Deacon knows something about Blade and that he needs Blade for whatever his plan is. But he's not going to tell anybody else until the plan comes into fruition.
I did think it was interesting that I read this. I think this is as good a time as any to put it in. But Quinn, I read allegedly that his role was not supposed to be anything like it was. Like the actor did such a good job, they just expanded his role. And apparently he ad-libbed a lot of his lines. From what I've read.
He did a really good job. I really enjoy him.
Yeah, he was a great character.
We meet the record keeper, Pearl, who we talked about earlier in this episode. He's just a mass. He's just a giant vampire who can't move, can't really do anything, but is the overseer of the archive, and Blade needs something out of him. And Whistler gave him a brand new lamp that has light that could instantly it burns vampires.
Yeah, the UV.
Yeah. And he gives it to Karen and pretty much says if he moves, use it on him.
Yep.
And boy, does she fry the hell out of him.
Oh yeah.
And the screams that comes out of this thing, it's just terrifying. Just this high-pitched whistling scream. Oh.
Dude,
burns in your brain.
So, this came out in 1998, right?
Mm-hmm.
When did SpongeBob come out?
99.
Was this the inspiration for Pearl? SpongeBob?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I don't think it is either. But damn it! I'm thinking of SpongeBob.
Same name, right? The same name. It's got to be the same. Right?
I was just like, have you seen Mr. Krabs gets to eat real food? Have you seen his daughter? She's as big as a whale. I don't know why that's the thought that came to mind. Did not think of that the entire time I was watching the movie, but right now is the time for my brain to just have that weird thought.
Jesus.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Blade and Karen, they break into the archive room, which has got all these old ancient scribes that are hanging from the ceiling. And this is where, I'm guessing this is where Deacon was in that scene where the Dragonetti guy comes in and talks to him. I feel like it's the same room. But this was the room that Pearl refused to tell them about. What's in this room? And he's like, nothing. And that's when Karen just keeps burning it. And I love when he comes over and she's just like, he moved.
Yeah.
She's not wrong.
No. Oh man, it reminds me, Pearl reminds me of it was the final boss in God of War 2 for PS2. You had to fight the Sisters of Fate. Yeah, and the third Sister of Fate was literally this giant blob of a person that was stuck in a cylinder, and it had a bunch of different arms that it would. I'll have to put a picture up on the show with a side by side between Pearl and this. I can't remember what her name was.
It's been so long since I beat God of War 2. I'm my mind's just what is this? I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. It just reminded me of that character. They break into the archive. Frost. Yeah. We got a room full of old vampire scribes from the House of Erebus. Blade discovers a little girl who then proceeds to whoop his ass.
Yeah, right.
And then Quinn's cronies show up. They trap Blade. One of them grabs his sword. It's I got his sword. And he's got this little mechanism where if someone who's not Blade grabs it, it sends off a thing that shoots off these spikes and it just explodes. This man's hand just explodes. And and he's at first he's horrified, but then he's laughing about it.
Yeah, and everybody else is too.
Yeah.
Did I miss something?
So Quinn stabs Blade with the silver stake that he used on Quinn earlier in the film. Whistler then shows up and joins the fight. Blade and the gang escape to the subway before the archives blow. I didn't even it was kind of like a flash that I completely missed that they dropped explosives in the archive. because it blows up, and I was like, wait a second, I gotta rewind this. Did he drop a bag of it? Yes, he does. He leaves a bag of explosives behind, causing the archives to blow up. And then we get this really like this is actually a pretty cool scene of Blade and Karen. And like they're trying to run away, and Quinn and his cronies are trying to chase after him as the subway cars are going by. And we get the shot of Blade and Quinn fighting. He then chops off Quinn's other arm, and then takes his head and just shoves it into the subway train and it's just tearing at his face.
Yes. That's one of the shots I always remember from this movie.
Yep. And then Quinn turns and runs away, holding his arm, crying. Really, really cool. And then we get to see where Blade and Karen, like they got Mercury and the other cronies are coming up the side, and you're just waiting. And Karen's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" And it's because Blade grabs onto the end of the train and whips around. You're like, okay, that man's arm is ripped off. I do like how his arm gets dislocated though from it. Yeah, because they get into the train and she's like, "You don't look so good." And he's like, my shoulder dislocated. And she pops it back in, which he ended up, which I like how it's like a things kind of happen to, Blade does something to somebody and then it gets returned to him.
Yeah.
So in the beginning, like when he first runs into Karen, she dislocates her shoulder and he's got to pop.
He yeets her across.
Yeah. Yeah. He pops her shoulder back in, and then she, of course, returns the favor, which I thought was pretty cool. Whistler explains Blade's life history and his own. So mother was born bitten by a vampire when she was pregnant. So he was born not a full-fledged vampire. He can withstand everything that they can't. He just the only thing is he has the hunger.
Yeah. And he ages. He ages normally.
Yes. Where vampires don't age, they age very slowly, where Blade ages normal. So he is considered what's a damper. That is a human with vampire strengths, but not their weaknesses. And then and then Whistler explains his own life story, which is the reason that he fights is because he had a wife and 2 daughters or 3 daughters. He had a number of daughters, and a vampire attacked him and his family and killed them. So he decided to join Blade on the crusade to stop all vampires. And that's kind of what Blade's whole thing is. He wants to find the vampire that bit his mother. Quinn doesn't understand why Deacon keeps wanting Blade alive, but Frost has a plan. He's got a plan. Frost brings Gaetano Dragonetti.
Yep.
Out to have him a view of the sunrise. And at first you're going, why is he smoking but no one else is? Because they don't explain that until they put the helmets on with the shields as the full sun comes out. Boy, did this give me some Indiana Jones vibes at the end of the Raiders of the Lost Ark when everybody just starts combusting. That's what this scene looked like.
Oh, I agree. They actually do foreshadow why they don't burn. It's before they get out, you see their cars and stuff, and it's Frost and then that Mercury chick in the car.
Mm-hmm.
She's putting stuff on his face. So she's putting that sunscreen stuff that they allude to later.
Right.
And then
I thought they were just making out.
Yeah, you watch. But I want to go back to that because sorry.
That going on.
There is actually surprisingly no nudity though. No. That was really weird. Me and Angela talked about this. No nudity. It was wild. But anyway, we were talking about this because he talks about using silver to kill these vampires, right?
Yeah.
So we discussed this during the film. Like, why is he using silver? That's werewolves, right?
Right.
Well, I was looking into this while we were watching it, and silver is also a classic way of ridding yourself of vampires or harming vampires for multiple different reasons. Actually, apparently it roots back to Greek mythology. I don't know the vampire, not the person specifically that was the origin of vampirism in Greek mythology, but he had stole something from another god that was silver, so they made them weak to silver, and then stole something from, or did something to Apollo, so Apollo made them weak to the light of the sun. So that's where that took from them. But a lot of people, mythologies, Christianity and stuff, believe silver to be a pure metal and werewolves and vampires to be impure beings. Ergo, it would be effective against them. And another reason is because sunlight is generally a weakness of vampires. Well, mirrors, which some mythologies they don't have reflections, but mirrors in the time back in the day were partially contained or were made of silver. So light, mirrors reflect light, would hurt a vampire. So that's where apparently this all came from. Because I never heard that growing up until I watched this movie. So
that's what I said. I was like, I have it written down. I was like, since when were vampires hurt by silver?
yeah, I was like, it's oak stakes, dude. And then I looked into it. I was like, okay, this makes sense now. So trivia.
David Escoyer did his research, or that it was something that might have been in the Blade comics that
Is that it?
laid effect to it. So Gitano explodes. He gets exposed to the sunlight and just literally
Why
explodes.
does he explode?
And he melts a little bit first, then blows up.
He starts smoking, and then his skin starts to burn, and then he becomes he's getting his soul sucked out of him, and then and then he explodes.
You got to do something, dude.
Lots of weird explosions.
And then so with Gitano gone, Frost takes over the council.
And he rips his fangs out too.
Oh yes, and that's when they're like, "Where's Dragonetti?" And he throws his fangs onto the table.
He's like, "Bitch, shit's getting run around here different like." And nobody else does anything.
Yeah.
Blade brings Whistler a piece of one of the scribes. Karen has a way to help cause some really cool vampire kills. She's like, "It's not going to be a cure, but it'll even be better." And boy, do we get to see the effects of this later.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fucking cool.
What did she say it was used for? It was used to treat some kind of ailment in humans. It's that the way he ejects into them. She said it's some compound they use to treat some kind of.
I missed it.
Yeah, she mentions it. I can't remember what she says it is, but of course on vampires, it just everything blows up.
Yeah, because their cells are different.
Yep.
We find out Whistler has cancer because he's coughing a lot, which was it's kind of just thrown in there, but nothing happens with it. It's like, well, he's got cancer. That's why he's coughing. Whistler believes they didn't stop Karen Stern in time. He thinks that she's going to fully turn, and she's like, fuck that. I'm going to stop this. And then she's designing a cure for herself.
Yep.
Blade goes out and finds Frost with a little girl in the daylight. That's when he explains he's got the sunblock.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much, and he goes into this cool dialogue about, how vampires have been around for thousands of years, and he wants them to be the dominant species. Humans have had it good for too long. We are more powerful, and everybody else is just like no one has tried to, take over when it should be super easy for them.
Yep.
He's on a power trip.
Oh yeah, absolutely he is.
And I just love how he's using sunblock so he doesn't burn, which is what sunblock is used for.
Yeah.
This Blaze says something about his mascara is running or something.
Yeah. Frost wants Blade to join forces with them. He's like, come be with us. Help us, help me figure out this vision and put this vision into fruition. With your powers and my brains, we'll be unstoppable.
Absolutely.
And Blade's like, fuck that. All right. And then he shoots at him. And this is where we get the Matrix, the bullet time from the Matrix, as the bullet Deacon slowly dodges those.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Frost escapes. He throws the little girl into the street. He, shoots at Frost for a little bit. Then he runs and grabs the little girl right before she's about to get hit by a bus.
Yep. He eventually does the right thing.
Yes. Because at first he's like, why do I care? You just consider them cattle.
Yep.
So I thought that was pretty cool. Karen finds a way to help her from turning. But she's not sure about Blade because Blade is just too far gone, I think, is the reason
'cause
behind it.
His process was a little different because he was born that way.
Right. And it could take away his powers.
Yep.
Quinn and Frost attack the lair, beating Whistler pretty much to death.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Blade comes back, you get this was always a gut punch scene for me, even when I was a kid, is when he discovers Whistler. Yeah. He's just like dying in the chair, and he's, explaining everything that he needs to do, and then at the end, he's like, give me a gun, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, because Blade won't shoot him.
Yep. And then as Blade walks away, we hear the gunshot in the back, but we don't see it. We don't see his dead body. So maybe he's not dead.
Nothing.
So Blade, so the plan is that Frost is trying to resurrect this blood god. And
what was the name?
Lamagra. Yeah. It's a blood god, but he wants the powers, the power. He's going to absorb the powers of Lamagra and become the blood god himself.
Yes.
Blade watches, there was a tape that was left next to Whistler's body. He watches that, and it's Frost telling him where he needs to go. And he's got Karen. And Blade preps for battle. We get all of the scene of him just kind of loading up with all of his weapons. And we get a nice... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Why does he kill the plant?
Was there something in it that he takes?
He just like holds it up and then that's it. That's all you see.
I wonder if it's like a plant that he uses for something. Like, is it garlic maybe? Or I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe he worships the garlic god.
Hey, when you're a vampire hunter, you got to worship some sort of god, right? Help you in your endeavors.
Like garlic.
I thought it was like a metaphorical representation of his mother because like she was supposedly dead or whatever.
Right. Well, he still thinks. Well, guess what? No spoilers. She's still dead.
I mean, I'm just saying, all right. Some metaphorical reason, I guess. What would a garlic looks like? I don't know. I don't fucking know. What do you want from me?
Frost and Karen have a nice little chit chat where Karen explains to Frost about the cure, and it for someone who has been bitten and they weren't born a vampire, it might help him turn back. And he's like, why would I want to turn back?
Right?
Fuck that. You're stupid. You're stupid, lady.
Stupido idiotes.
Frost explains that the blood god is coming, and Blade's blood is the key, as he is a Daywalker, meaning because of his powers, it's going to transfer his powers over to Frost, making him unstoppable, literally.
I guess.
Blade comes in guns blazing. He comes in on his motorcycle. You can hear it. You can hear it in different directions. Everybody's trying to figure out. You got those really generic goons that are all wearing black with like the sunglasses, walking around with the guns.
Yeah.
But you can hear you can hear the engines in all different directions. Like, where is he coming from? Where is he? And then he just smashes through a window and just takes a dude out. It's a great entrance. He fights after he literally mows down all these all the goons he sees in the beginning. He runs into these two like ninja vampires that are doing crazy moves on him, and he gets a little bit of a fight in there, and then he jabs them both with the things that the serum that Karen created, and we get the really cool effect of their heads start to fill up and expand, and then they just explode.
Yeah, it's great.
And I love the screaming where they're screaming, and then as they start to like swell up even more, it's just more high pitched until it blows. Yeah. Oh, so fun.
Tea kettle.
Yep. Blade discovers that his mom is still alive. Dun dun dun. Because guess what? She was bitten by a vampire. She didn't die. She died, but she became one. And boy, do we get this fucking... Oh wait, that's not till later. I won't talk about that yet. So yeah, she's still alive. She was turned the night he was born, and Frost was the one who bit her. Oh my god!
Well, I got a question. Now,
Mhm.
I asked Angela, and I don't know, when we see Frost in his apartment for the first time, and the little fancy casket bed comes out, is that who comes out of the bed?
No.
Entirely different actress.
You talking about the scene where he's doing the translating on the computer?
Yeah,
No, it's
because he's
a
sitting.
completely different woman.
Oh, I
It,
couldn't tell.
it
I've seen
looked nothing like her.
Oh, I
The
don't
woman
know.
who played Blade's mom, I couldn't think of her name right now.
I
But,
didn't really pay much attention to her at the beginning of the film. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh, she's dying, and I was like, okay.
But yeah, I didn't. She looked nothing. Her name is Sanai Lathan, but she looked nothing like the woman who came out of the bed.
Okay.
She was the main character in Alien versus Predator. I knew I recognized her from somewhere.
Yeah. That seals it.
Yep. Oh boy, where in the fuck am I? Blade needs his serum because he is just tweaking out, man. He is tweaking.
Oh yeah, he's got that thirst.
He's thirsty. He needs some drink.
You need some power thirst. You've tried the worst. Now try the thirst. Quencher.
That's what you were.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh man. Blade is also willing to take Karen's cure, but she explains that it might make him straight up human. Like he won't have any of his powers anymore. He's just gonna be a basic bitch.
Yeah, he will.
Blade and Karen are brought to a vampire temple, which is pretty cool. I like the design of it. It's pretty cool. Frost explains why they're there. Blade is thirsty, and Deacon fucks with Blade's sword. And at first I'm like, why is he able to hold the sword? And then he's like, and then he explains it. He goes, you see, I do pay attention. I know everything about you, Blade. And you're like, okay. That's why the sword never goes off, because he fucks with the little mechanism. So the little spikes don't come out. Frost fucks with Quinn. He's like, put your arm out. He was going to test it. He's like, nah, I'm fucking with you. Just give him
I was like, oh, he's going to do it. He's going to do it.
I think that's why I love Deacon Frost, because he's not straight serious the whole time. Like he literally, we're in this really serious moment where he is about to become a god. And he's just fucking with Quinn. He's like, nah, I was fucking with you. I'm not going to do that.
He's so full of himself, man.
He tosses the serum, the head blowing up serum, because he thinks it's something else. He doesn't actually know what it is.
Yeah, he thinks it's Blade's, like, thirst quencher.
Yeah. Gonna quench
Gatorade.
Gatorade.
It's blue Gatorade.
It is. Cool blues. Cool blue Gatorade.
Karen gets tossed in a hole and runs into her old boyfriend, who Quinn killed earlier. Is he a zombie now? Is he a weird vampire? What the fuck is he?
Okay, well, this is another thing we talked about. Because in vampire lore, the vampire can, it can just straight up kill a person. They can turn them into vampires.
Yeah.
Or they can turn them into ghouls, which are what they explains this guy to be. How they're supposed to be more mindless than he was, but they'll eat anything. Human, vampire, doesn't care. They just eat stuff like a zombie.
Gotcha.
So that's what. Yeah. Cool that they brought that part of the mythos in, since they've pretty much done about everything else.
Right. Also, why does he have a British accent now? Did you like listen closely? He spoke like he sounded British.
Because I'm like, was he British before?
No, he was not.
Why was he talking at all? Like they're churching him up. Like before they get there, it's like, yeah, he's just mindless and they eat, and he's sitting there talking to him. So I was like, what the fuck is he talking?
He's like, Karen, and I was like, why are you talking like this? This is weird. Karen beats his ass and escapes the hole.
Yeah.
Blade.
She kicks the shit out of him.
She does. God, yes. He literally is just like, please stop. I don't fuck. Karen, come back. Blade is the sacrifice for this ritual. And his mom is the one who brings him and puts him in the contraption. And what the fuck is happening in the scene? She is getting really close. Like, she's like, it looks like she's about to make out with her own son.
I was waiting for it. Is she gonna, like, just...
Like, her lips were touching his lips as she's talking to him. And I was like, what the fuck am I watching?
This is getting very,
very
Arkansas.
I was like, this is a very intimate moment. What is going on?
or Alberta for our Canada fans.
Between fucking mother and son. It's so weird.
It was weird. I was like, what the? Like, lady, can you back up?
Yeah. So, yeah, she's a full-blown vampire, and she doesn't give a fuck about her son anymore. She's all about that vamp life.
She wants that Vamp D. She don't care who's got it.
So
incest is best cest, I guess.
Oh my god. Oh no, we don't endorse that, ladies and gentlemen. No endorsing of that. No, we're keeping it in. We're just going to endorse that is not okay. Time to drain blade. And this is a really cool like drainage system, like when the blood is coming out and it's like funneling through the temple. It's really cool design.
It cuts into his wrists and stuff.
Yeah.
Thing. That's pretty neat.
Pretty neat. Karen discovers blade in the contraption. And we see Mercury. She goes slicey on one of the console vampires with blade sword. She just choppies.
He talks shit or something. She just boop.
Yep. She just chops his ass up, and then kicks the sword into like one of the pillars. That's what ends up killing him. Mm-hmm. Quinn is just fucking great because he literally says that I'm gonna be a naughty blood god. That is legit a line that he says. Yeah, because him and Deacon are talking about like what's gonna be happening, and she's like, "What the fuck? Why did I ever bring you on? You fucking idiot." Karen has Blade. He convinces Blade to drink from her to regain his strength. And boy, is this a sex scene without it being a sex scene?
Yes,
Jesus. What the hell?
Right?
Don't stop. And you're like, what is? Holy shit.
This could have been a lot shorter with a lot less verbiage, people.
Well, the longest time when I would watch this movie, because I never, when you're a kid, probably until a couple of years ago, I didn't watch movies with subtitles. I just didn't do it. So I always thought she was begging him to stop.
Same.
But in the subtitles, she says, don't stop. She continues to tell him, don't stop. And it's like, oh, okay. So this isn't like some vampire rape scene. I just wanted to make sure that's not what that was. It was just a really weird non-sex scene.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep, that was the thing that happened in this movie.
Yep. And we've talked about it too long. Blood rains down.
You guys want to talk about the incest some more? Or is that better?
We'll move on. Let's move on.
Just get this whole section. Just go.
Blood rains down on the purebloods as Blade goes ham on Karen. She tells him, don't stop. This feels like a sex scene. I thought I got to this point. Why did I read it again?
They're still at it.
It goes on for so long.
I know. Like, why? Just
like they cut back to it like 3 times.
I get it, but
leave it.
Leave it alone. Put the dick down, please.
I'm fucking crying now. I can't see shit. A big glob of blood lands on Frost's forehead, and Blade and his mom fight. It's not a very good fight. And does he stab her with a bone? I'm so confused.
Yeah. He literally gives her the bone.
Why does that kill her, though?
His mom.
Oh. No.
Welcome to the bone throne, Mom.
No.
Oh, God. That's awful.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know if that was on purpose. We'll go with that scene. But you could use anything else than a bone. Why wasn't there like a piece of rebar?
No, but why does she die from a bone?
I guess impale
I don't know.
Does it because he impales her in the heart? I'm very confused. I was confused because when she disintegrates, it's a bone. I'm like, what? I need someone to explain this to me, but we don't get that. So cool.
No.
Oh boy. Blade stabs his mom as demons fly out of the sacrificed vampires. That was a weird thing where they all come out of their mouths. That was extra. Well, you get is it the electricity hits them first, right? Yeah, it's like the electricity comes through and it hits all of them because the blood. Yeah, they get a drop of blood on their forehead. The electricity hits the blood, and then it releases these flying demons that fly around. They literally come out of their mouth. It kind of reminds me of Scooby-Doo. You remember the live action Scooby-Doo movie? The like demon things they come out of their mouths. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
I fortunately have not seen that.
Oh, we're gonna. Oh, fuck yeah. Scooby-Doo and Scooby-Doo 2. I am so pumped.
What's going on with the movies?
Matthew Lillard's in it, man. He plays Shaggy. Fuck yeah.
I was playing it cool. I was trying to be nice about it. He's the motherfucker that brought it up. So
listen, James Gunn wrote them fucking movies, man.
I don't give a shit. Give two shits about him. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, yes, but I think it's like their vampire spirit. It's supposed to be like their pure blood vampire spirit.
Okay.
Allegedly, I don't.
Thought
That's
it was just some weird thing, part of the ritual. I don't know.
Well, I mean, might as well. At the end of this whole fucking end of this movie has been weird as shit with some of the scenes they've done. So
yeah. Blade finally shows up, gets his sword and shit, and starts fighting. And Quinn literally lasts about 3 seconds. You're like, wow, he kept him alive for all of that to it be the most anticlimactic fight I've ever seen. He just literally
crossed him earlier.
Yeah. Blade epically regains his shades because he literally cuts Quinn's head off. The glasses fly in the air, and he catches him, and then he puts him back on, and he's fucking back, baby.
Yeah.
And he just goes ham on all these vampires with some really bumping music as it's happening. Karen and the crazy vampire girl Mercury fight until Karen sprays her in the mouth with the garlic spray, causing her head to explode. Her and Karen have a fight, and Karen sprays her in the mouth with the spray, with the mace, and her head explodes.
Is that why there's no vampires in Italy?
Right?
Garlic.
Oh yeah.
Pasta.
Man, I wouldn't have to ever worry about vampires. I eat so much garlic, it's unreal.
Oh god, it'd be fantastic.
Love garlic.
What if they're like reverse vampires where they sustain themselves off garlic? Then you'd have to be worried.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you guys like the scene where Blade and a random goon were just doing kicks and they weren't hitting each other? They were just doing like roundhouse kicks.
Yeah.
But they were like fucking 3 feet away from each other. Just
yeah.
It's like, somebody land a kick.
Pad this out. Do some cool shit. Like, all right.
Oh, Frost and Blade get into a sword fight, which is actually a pretty cool sword fight. You get like a really cool like classic, and then it's like super fucking fast, and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah,
where does Frost get his sword? I don't know.
Who cares?
Oh man. So yeah, and then by the end of the fight, Blade chops off Frost's arm, which then you get the really cool like bad CG effect of it flying through the air and then disintegrating. And then Blade chops him in half. But as he turns around, you see that blood connects back into each other, and Frost's body becomes back into one. And it's just Blade turns around and mouths, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
It was so weird. I was like, I wish he just said it instead of mouthing it. Just
it seemed way like super forced. I was like, come on.
They fight until Blade finds the serums that hurt the vamps and his cool sword. He throws it up and he's like, oh, you missed him. But then the mechanism goes off, exploding the rocks that's holding the serum. It drops. He gets him. He then
She's behind his back.
Yes, he does the cool stance.
He's like, I don't see how those are going to help you right now, man.
Yeah. He literally just starts chucking him into Frost.
Yeah.
At the first, Frost freaking knocks it away, but then he just freaking forces them all, and it pans over to Frost, and he's just got like 8 of them in his chest. But there's one more, and where's he gonna stick it? He fucking puts it right in his forehead.
Yeah.
And then Frost bloats up. You love how the detail. I appreciate it because he got one in the leg, but not in one leg, but not the other. So when he bloats up real big, one leg still stays normal.
Yeah.
I pointed that. I was like, that leg's normal.
Yeah. And then he blows up.
He explodes.
Yes,
Don't eat that many. What's happening? What's going to happen? Am I going to explode? Yeah. No, it'll go straight to your thighs. And then you'll explode. 2 SpongeBob references in this episode.
Oh boy, we love that sponge losing a pineapple under the sea.
Damn right.
Blade somehow doesn't get hit by all the blood that explodes once Deacon.
Every time.
He literally covers his head like this, but nothing hits him. All right.
Does he ever get blood on him in this entire movie? Outside of like from him?
No.
Like getting like punched and stuff?
Nope. I don't think so.
He's just that damn good, dude.
And Blade decides he doesn't want to be cured. He's got a lot of work to do. There's a lot more vampires out there to stop. So he's going to continue doing his work. But he tells Karen to create a better serum. I'm guessing for people who get bit so they don't get turned, I'm guessing.
And probably for him too, so he doesn't.
Yeah.
Have,
Oh yeah. So he does the thirst to control his thirst issue.
Yeah, Gatorade.
Because he's thirsty.
He first.
Blade then goes vamp hunting in Russia, and that's where the movie ends.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
We get some really cool music at the end of from the 90s.
Absolutely.
Frost at the end of the movie, he was supposed to turn into a gelatinous mass until test audiences hated it. So when he becomes like that blood god, he was supposed to become like this really large, just blood looking thing. And then like his face would come out of it as he would talk to Blade and stuff. And the whole original ending was Blade throws the serums in, which then cause Frost to become normal again. So he doesn't die from them. And Blade stabs him with his sword. And then he disintegrates like a regular bitch ass vampire. That was the original ending, and test audiences hated it. So they changed it to what it is in what you see in the film.
I would like to throw something out here. I just looked at this because I remembered it because we mentioned it a couple times during this movie.
Yeah,
we made Matrix references.
Mm-hmm.
This came out a year before the Matrix.
Yeah, so Blade did bullet time before. So Matrix took bullet time from Blade.
Yep, exactly.
Blade just starting it all, man. Not getting the respect it deserves. All right.
Absolutely.
You want to talk about fucking Iron Man starting the Marvel universe? No, fucking Blade, baby. 1998. Yeah. So yeah, that's Blade, everybody. Woo!
Tasty morsel.
What a fucking movie. So fun.
It's a fun movie to watch. It is a fun movie to watch. What do you think, dear?
Can we talk about the fight where Blade pulls the one guy's throat out and throws it at the
Yeah, rips his throat on, like throws it at some other motherfucker.
I missed that. What?
Yeah, it's at the ending. It's during the final fight.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I do have a qualm. I do have a qualm, a complaint, if you will.
All right.
Outside of certain scenes where they showcase it,
Mm-hmm.
the vampires don't really seem that great, like powerful.
No, they're not.
Like they don't seem like at all, like because they're talking about, oh, he's got their strength and stuff like that, and then like there's a few scenes where they show it off, like at the end of the movie where he's a badass and fighting all those guys or jumps the fence without touching the fence or whatever. But then like you see like the pureblood vampire, these old ass dudes, which you figure would be powerful because they're pureblood vampires. He just gets taken over by these bunches of little
Wesley Snipes
dudes in fucking suits and
Blade is probably the fucking strongest person in this movie, and he's not even a full blown vampire.
Yeah, and they don't I just don't feel like they showcase the strength of the vampires that well in this film. But just not shit on the movie. That's just something I noticed in this watch.
Listen, that's it. That's Blade, everybody. Next week, we're talking about the sequel to this movie. The what year did Blade 2 come out? I gotta look it up real quick.
We're watching Dracula 2000.
Oh, okay.
just like
okay. Gerard Butler. Woo! That was Gerard Butler, right?
I have no fucking clue, dude. I just remember it coming out and not watching it.
Next week, we're talking about the 2002 sequel to this film, Blade 2, which last week's episode, we talked about sequels. Good sequels. Blade 2, a good sequel. Very good.
It is a very good sequel.
Directed by Guillermo del Toro. So
and it has to be. It has to be.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have more fond memories of the second Blade than I do the original.
Yeah. I have fond memories of them all because I enjoy the hell out of all of them.
I just don't remember 3. I just can't remember. I know I've seen
it.
You
will when you see Ryan Reynolds' beautiful face. And you're like, God damn, Ryan Reynolds.
The thing that always stands out for me from the second one, outside of one thing that always stands out, is that one line of dialogue is "You fucking nipplehead." And this way, when you watch it, dear, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's great.
All I know is Ron Perlman's in it. This is pre Hellboy.
Yeah, I understand. That's probably why he got the gig.
Fucking Norman Reedus is in this from Boondock Saints and Walking Dead.
So hold on. Speaking of that,
Donnie Yen is in this movie. What? Do you know Donnie Yen? He was in Rogue One. He was the blind guy.
Really?
Yeah. He's in Blade 2, bro. That's crazy.
Dude, I was gonna say, when it comes to Norman
Reedus.
Like that's blank. Norman Reedus, yes. We actually watched Boondock Saints first prior to Walking Dead. So we're one of the cool people that knew who he was.
Oh, we were doing I can't wait to talk about Boondock Saints and Boondock Saints 2.
Never seen the second one, but I did like the first one a lot.
I don't want to go. I don't want to make this episode longer than it has to be. All right, everybody. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the video and the channel. We're over 200 subs now, baby, and we're getting closer and closer to 300. Yeah. Oh boy, I'm so proud of us, and we're almost to 1,000 downloads. We're almost to 1,000 downloads of this show since the beginning. Yes, that's great.
Very good. Very good. Thank you, people.
Yes, thank you, everybody. We have merch. I'm going to put the link in the description on the YouTube video and wherever you listen to the podcast, there's links usually in the description. You can click on that link and go buy some merch. It's all basic stuff, but it's there for you all to get sweatshirts, shirts, hats, stuff like that.
Fanny packs.
Well, someday we'll get those.
Oh, I can't wait till our stuff comes in.
Oh, me too. I'm so excited.
Oh, almost forgot. Go watch Jurassic Park 3.
Yes.
Always got to
we got to get it up to 20,000 views.
Absolutely, we do.
So next week, Blade 2.
I'm excited.
And of course, don't forget, we are releasing older episodes in their video forms for the first time every Monday. The last one wasn't on Monday, but we're up to Godzilla vs. Kong as of this recording, or when you all see this, Godzilla vs. Kong's video will be up. So that means the week after we're going to get into the Jaws series.
Ooh, that's going to be saucy.
So that's going to be fun. I'm not excited about the Jaws video because I hate that episode.
Yeah.
But the rest of them are fucking perfect. So make sure to check all those things out. Make sure to check out DNA Gaming over on Twitch, Twitter, and other places, I guess. I am Parker Dissects on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, TikTok. I don't fucking know. All the links are in the description if need be. So you can click on those, go drop us some follows, comment, send us some DMs if you want about how much you love the show.
Yeah. DNA_gaming 1 on Twitch. DNA Gaming _1 on Twitter.
There you go. There it is.
I was yawning and stretching. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it.
No, it's okay.
It's been a long day.
So until next time, I am Brett Parker. That is Dan and Angela from DNA Gaming. We are Dissect That Film, and this has been episode 39 of the Dissect That Film podcast. We'll see you all next time. Bye.
Oopsies.